Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Chasing Rabbits. My name is Scott Brown, and welcome to my vlog dedicated to helping you become the leader you always wished that you had worked for. So this afternoon was the second day of mid-year training for everyone who is holding a trio position or either a growth director, program quality director, or district director for Toastmasters. And we spent a couple of weekends over the last month mid-year training, helping us get a little bit more proficient at leading teams, leading organizations, understanding our role within Toastmasters, Toastmasters investing in our development so that we can help invest in Toastmasters development. And one of the primary reasons why we do this is at this point of year, we're starting to look for successors and what we're going to do next year within Toastmasters. We're trying to bring along somebody else because, as I've said before, one of the primary jobs of a leader is to help develop more leaders. Help develop more leaders. You need others to come with you so that when your time leading is done, you can now turn that mantle of leadership over to somebody else to take it where you left off, to where you thought that your end point was. Now they're going to use that as their launch point. So we talked a little bit about how we do that and some of the skills and tactics that we do. But there's one thing I thought was really missing from the whole conversation today, something I think was incredibly important. And that's in the corporate world, we spend a lot of time talking about Hershey-Blanchard's situational leadership model. And it's a model, if you're not familiar with it, this is a model really designed to help you take somebody who knows nothing about what the thing is that you're asking them to do and helping them become incredibly competent with the thing that you're asking them to do. This relates to Toastmasters very easily because we're taking somebody who has never been an area director before, a division director before, or a trio member before, or a club president before. We've never been in those roles, and we're asking them to go into those roles and help them and teach them to become more effective, and we're trying to guide them through that model. We don't really talk about this framework, which is one of the most effective frameworks out there for it. And here's how it works. Here's kind of the whole premise behind it. So you have a conversation with somebody and you entice them, you recruit them, you engage them to say, look, I have this thing that I want you to do. I think you're going to be great at it. I think you have the greater skill set. You have the right strengths, the right temperament for it. I think this is the thing that you want to do. I really want you to come along with me and do this thing. And this other individual that you're recruiting is looking, she's like, wow, I can't wait to do this thing. That sounds amazing. I'm in. What's the thing? So they have incredible commitment. They have high energy, but they have the competence of a frog. They have no idea what the thing is that you're asking them to do. So as you're working on them in this first introductory step, you're giving them a lot of direction. You don't necessarily need to coach them. You don't need to support them. You need to give them great direction because they have the energy and the commitment, but they have very little competence in how whatever this thing is you've asked them to do. Well, over time, as you help direct the behaviors, help direct them to what they're trying to do, to help them become more competent, more efficient, more effective at this thing that you're getting them to do, eventually you take them from that enthusiastic beginner to a disillusioned learner. What that means is they know just enough to be dangerous. Now they've realized this thing that sounded so great is a lot more work than what they thought. This is a lot harder than what they thought. Why am I doing this thing? Not only do I not know how to do it, I don't even know if I want to do it. So now you have this battle of you have still developing competence, but now you also have waning commitment. And through that, as they become more this disillusioned learner, you're trying to give them a tremendous amount of coaching to help them develop both competence and commitment to keep going. You still see potential in them. You know that whatever this thing is you're trying to get them to learn how to do is going to benefit them. It's going to unlock their potential to greatness in some future way. But now they're looking at you like, why did you do this? What did I do to you? I hate this thing. I don't want to do this thing anymore. The coaching model helps you take them past that disillusionment and move them into what Hershey-Blanchard call a conscientious contributor. That means is that eventually they learn how to do the thing. Now you've been able to direct them and coach them so they know the ins and outs of whatever this thing is. They know how it works. They know the rules. They know the responsibilities. They know the best way. They know best practices. They know how to do it, and they don't want to. because now they realize that there's a limited reward for it, or maybe it's something that it feels like it's a punishment for them doing because they've done well these other things because they've succeeded here. Now we're going to punish them by making us do this other thing that nobody else wants to do. What did I do to you? I've learned how to do this thing and I do it really well, but I really hate it. So I really don't want to do this thing. And through that process, you as the leader is supposed to be giving them a lot of support to help increase their commitment. They have great competence now, but not great commitment. Eventually, they become so comfortable and it just becomes, this thing becomes part of them. Whatever it is you're trying to get them to do, they do it exceptionally well. They have very few mistakes. Competence-wise, they're off the chart. And eventually, like, this thing has become part of them and their commitment to it is exceptionally high. So now you don't necessarily have to spend that much time with them. You can delegate. You give them low follow-up. Not no follow-up, but low follow-up. So you've taken them from this enthusiastic beginner, yay, to this disillusioned learner, oh, to this conscientious contributor, why, to a self-reliant achiever, yes. And they've moved through this whole process, and it's a great model to be able to use, especially within a Toastmasters world, to help somebody move from when they're first diving into how to do something to get them to this final point where they know how to really do it and they want to do it. There's a couple problems here, though. Being with the corporate world for so long, I've seen a couple of huge flaws and huge stumbling points for leaders that practice this type of style. First, probably the biggest one, leaders love to assign labels. Labels are easy. It's really easy to look at somebody and say, well, that person I think is a disillusioned learner. They know how to do it, but they don't want to. They're just disillusioned. Well, here's the problem with that. Situational leadership is based on a specific task, one specific task. If you're in a Toastmasters world, it might be doing area visits. If you're in a retail world, it might be doing markdowns. It might be ringing on a register. It might be writing an employee schedule. It's a lot of individual tasks that we do within our jobs. Situational leadership applies to each individual task. You might be a disillusioned learner in one task, and you might be a self-reliant achiever in another task, and in a third task, you're an enthusiastic beginner, and in a fourth task, you're a conscientious contributor. It all makes up this giant mosaic of who you are as an individual and who you are as a leader and as a manager. But because we are so busy, we have so many things going on, it's easier if we can place a label upon you. And that label carries over into other things. So the one thing that matters most to us, wherever you are, we tend to think about you in that place all the time. And if you're not in one of those high commitment areas, when you're in a lower commitment area, we tend to think you have lower commitment overall. And it hurts careers. It hurts relationships. I've seen entire careers go down the drains because just one task somebody wasn't great at doing. They didn't like doing this one part of their job, and they got pigeonholed because of that one flaw within their working process. So labeling, exceptionally troublesome when it comes to situational leadership. The second one, I think this is the most important problem that I have with situational leadership. It has nothing to do with leadership. Situational leadership is about management. It's about managing people within a specific skill to become better. Is it necessary? Absolutely, but management and leadership are not the same thing. Management is focused on the specific actions you need to implement processes. Leadership is about taking you to a place where you didn't know you needed to go and setting forward upon a journey and getting the commitment from others to come with you. They're different skill sets. So here we have this thing we're calling situational leadership when it's actually situational management. So what does all this mean? Situational leadership's model is exceptionally powerful if you apply it in the right way, task specifically, not trying to stereotype anybody into one particular way that they're trying to work. It's also very important to realize that if you're really good at situational leadership, it means you're probably a highly effective manager, but probably not learning how to become an effective leader. They're different skill sets. Situational leadership, not leadership. It's management. So if you have those individuals that you see potential within, you look at them and say, they can do this thing. I can't wait to get them involved and to tackle this project. Know that by task, you have to help them go from this enthusiastic beginner all the way through to a self-reliant achiever. And there's going to be times that they slide back. They get passed over for a promotion. Somebody quits and they have to pick up somebody else's job. They all of a sudden don't have as much commitment. They start to slide back. They still have the competence, but not the commitment anymore, and your role with them changes. You can't pigeonhole them and stereotype them into one specific thing, but it's powerful. When you use it correctly, it's powerful. If you're a Toastmaster and you're looking to create followers, it's a powerful tool to ensure that they have the skills needed to follow behind within the specific roles. If you're within a store atmosphere, within a retail atmosphere, it's a powerful tool to help you create a succession bench so you have individuals that go into other positions and to grow careers. It's not going to help anybody follow you for where you're trying to go overall, but it will help them take step to step to step so they become the best version of themselves along the way. Different skills, apply them differently and with regard. So, have yourselves a wonderful night and go to bed thinking about this tonight. When was the last time you were pigeonholed, and did somebody use situational leadership against you as a weapon? Have you used it against somebody else as a weapon without even meaning to? Labels are wrong. Labels limit potential. Until tomorrow, I wish you well. I hope that you have practice and patience in helping somebody's journey go from an enthusiastic beginner to the self-reliant achiever and become the best version they can be. And along the way, I hope you become the best version you can be. Good night, everyone. Toast on, and we'll see you tomorrow for another edition of Chasing Rabbits. Be well.